I'm a deeply political mum. I think that's what I am. You know, even if I wasn't involved in the Green Party, I'd be dragging my kids off on marches for, you know, against the Iraq War or whatever. And my kids are very political in that respect too. I mean, with a small p, but they're really aware of what's going on around them. And I think that's good. That's something I'm pleased about. So, yeah, a political mum, I think, is what I am. I spend time with my kids. My kids are a massively important part of my life, obviously, as a mum. And so following what they're up to, spending time together, just going out, seeing a film, all of that's really important. I feel torn, as I'm sure so many working women do, between my working life, the politics that drives me, and wanting to spend more time with family, and just recognising that's such an important part of life, and that the kids aren't young forever, and it's all enormously precious. And so I feel very torn about that. And I suppose for me the way I make sense of it is the Green Party, the politics of the Green Party is so important. It is about, you know, the real basics of what kind of planet do we live on, what kind of relationships do we have between people, you know, is it safe, is it pleasant? Those kinds of issues are what get me up in the morning and mean that I can basically get on with that work even when it means spending much more time than I'd like away from family. I'm actually reading poems at the moment on the grounds that they're shorter. And I can get through them with a bit more ease. So I've been reading some poems. There's one called The Scattering. It's about a guy whose wife died, actually, but they're incredibly moving poems. And I find it hard to get really stuck into a novel at a time when I'm in the middle of an election campaign as well, because you lose the plot literally, and then you come back to it and you're thinking, what's going on here? So I quite enjoy reading poems. I'm actually reading a diary as well at the moment of a woman in the Bloomsbury Times, you know, back in the just during the Second World War, and just pondering what it must have been like to have the amount of time that people in the Bloomsbury set seemed to have. You know, they just had time to sit around and talk and write diaries and write wonderful novels. Come to that too, and that would be time. Time would be very nice. Well, I'm afraid it probably completely fills a stereotype, but for me it is The West Wing. I'm going through the whole series for the third time now, and you know, I just love President Bartlet. He's fantastic, and if only we had politicians like that now. So that for me is something that's a real way of winding down at the end of a long day.
Do you not look at it and go, well, that's entirely fictional, it doesn't work like that?
I do, but on the other hand, you so want it to work like that most of the time, and you want people to be motivated by integrity, and God, don't we need it today, you know, at a time when politics is so held in contempt by so many people, understandably so, with the number of scandals we've had in recent months and years. So, you know, although it doesn't happen like that, I would so love it too, that that belief keeps me going. I think what annoys me is that we don't have more influence in the political sphere today. You know, I just feel that green approaches are more urgently needed today than they've ever been. We have an electoral system in this country that is expressly designed to keep smaller parties out. I look with envy at my green colleagues in some European countries where they're not just in parliament, they're in government, and they can really make a difference. You know, I yearn for that degree of influence for the party. I mean, it will come, but there is an urgency to this agenda too, and I think we need to see it speed up a bit. The Green Party is not a single issue party. That is the challenge we need to get across to people, that the Green Party has policies on everything from the economy to education, from health to defence, and we always have done ever since the party was formed back in the early 70s. We care just as much about social justice as we do about environmental justice, if you like, and for us they're absolutely connected. And so that sense that the Green Party is the party that desperately cares about inequality and has policies to address it, policies around a living wage, for example, around proper payment for pensioners so that they get a decent pension. Those are the kinds of things that the party is really promoting hard, and which frankly the other parties have just moved away from.